We are now officially over a month into the launch of MLB The Show, and we've got some incredible content so far. Some of it may have started out a little bit slow, but it's kind of starting to pick up now, and as the summer progresses, more and more better cards will come out. So I wanted to take this week to go through all of the different positions in Diamond Dynasty right now, kind of like a tier list, but just kind of like a top 10 cards that I think at the date I'm recording this right now are the best in the game. I'd like to kind of think that my knowledge of the game and of these pitchers and kind of like how these pitchers work and how the game works, and I can kind of like list them from 1 to 10 and see like, yeah, this guy's better than this guy kind of deal. Let me know what you guys think of some of these pitchers on this list, and maybe some guys that I may have left off. There are like some higher overall guys, maybe like a Tom Seaver, like a Carlos Carrasco that didn't make it. Their overalls don't really matter. It's more so actually about like their stats and their different pitches and their pitch mitts, stuff like that. But let's get into it. Starting off with number 10, we are going to put a man that I did a debut on, and it didn't really quite go so well, so I only use him for 1 game, but it's 93 breakout CLAYTON KERSHAW. His stats really all around the board don't really jump off the page at me, like 86 hits per 9, 78 walks per 9. In years past, his K per 9, it would cause a lack of like swing and misses, so and it maybe in like a year's past he'd be a little bit better, but with K per 9 doing effectively nothing this year, his best pitching stat kind of just goes out the window. Looking at his actual pitches, he's got the Kershaw variety: fastball, slider, 12-6, circle change, and sinker. Usually most years Kershaw just has a normal changeup, but when I saw this card, I was genuinely just like interested on how a kind of like mid-diamond Kershaw card would be, because we haven't really ever gotten one of those before, and he's not the best, but I think he's good enough to where just cracks the top 10 just because he's a lefty. And you know, people might struggle with him just because people naturally struggle against lefties more, but Kershaw, number 10. Number 9 is one that I really almost didn't even put in the list, but just for his namesake and how much of a legend he is in MLB The Show, I had to put Oral on this list. Oral, back in the early days of DD 17, 18, this man was one of the best pitchers in the game. He was so good, man, but as the years go on, they kind of just seem to tweak him. Like, they changed his motion not too long ago and stuff like that, and they changed it again this year, and it's just not great. His actual stats aren't terrible. 95 hits per 9, do have in P1, but 95 hits per 9. His Oral's control is always very good. He's always kind of like a more of like a finesse pitcher. You know, you're not really going to get a lot of swing and misses with him. You're going to pitch to contact kind of deal. And maybe when we get a better Oral card later on in the year, just because his pitch mix, like his speeds are always so good. But Oral coming in at number 9. Before I move on into this video, fellas, it would mean the world to me if you drop a sub to the channel if you're not subbed already, or share the channel with your friends and stuff like that. We are on the road to 2K5 YouTube videos a week. Sleep schedule's a little bit in the blender right now, so that's maybe why the content's kind of been lacking the last little bit, but we're figuring that out. I promise, always 5 videos a week, no matter what the circumstances are. I appreciate the support so far. Let's get back into it. We now at number 8 hit the wave of live series pitchers in this game, and at number 8 I got Shohei Ohtani. Hear me out though. I know Ohtani's a 94 and he can hit. Obviously that's a fantastic factor that, you know, he's not a liability at the plate. You can actually swing with him, so that alone puts him above maybe some of the other guys that I left off of this list. But 90 hits per 9, 90 K per 9. When he's up on IEs, get 98. That's incredible. 98 hits per 9 might be one of like the highest hits per 9 stats in the game, but you know what you get with Ohtani, you can't really go deep into games with him. You know, when you get to that like 60, 70, 80 pitch mix, he's going to start to get tired. You're going to start to lose control of him a little bit, especially with the 72 walks per 9. 81 control is okay, but then when you actually look at his control and his pitches, his slider and splitter are okay, but the power region on those pitches anyways is massive in itself. So really the big thing with Ohtani is it's just that he's so hard to control at times. Like, his stuff is very good and his speed differential is very good, but he's just so hard to control at times. A very love-hate relationship I have with Corbin Burns' cards in MLB The Show games. You know, ever since he kind of had his breakout year a couple years ago, I have struggled with every single Corbin Burns card. He either gets shelled for me or he goes like 6 perfect. 95 hits per 9, 84 K per 9, pretty solid. 95 hits per 9, especially on those days where he's going to be up on inside edge. I believe he just got a boost from the roster update as well, but the days where he is up on inside edge, he is going to be a demon. 99 velo, you know, he obviously has that sinker cutter combo. The one thing I think that holds Corbin Burns back for me, in my opinion anyways, is that when you look at his pitch velos, everything is the same. His cutter and sinker are the same, you know, they'll go from like 92 to 96 kind of region. You know, he can spot his curveball coming in. His curveball's 81, which isn't bad, but then his circle change and slider, it's all the same speeds. Like, his pitch mix is good, but his pitch speed mix is very bad, and I think that's really holding him back, and that's kind of why I don't really do too well with them. So starting off, I guess, which I would kind of call like my A tier pitchers, we have Max Scherzer. Now Scherzer, I've kind of gotten shelled with him, but it's at a much higher rate. 55 innings pitched for Scherzer. I've used him a lot. I do have him at P4, and I can honestly say, dude, he's 16-1. He has like a couple bad games, I think, just from playing on the lower difficulties. But I know when I have Scherzer pitching, I'm really like, the most I feel like I'm giving up is like 4. At his stats, the 37-year-old has got 103 hits per 9. I mean, the guy's just still dominating baseball, and he's 37 years old. Like, it's crazy. The one thing about Scherzer is that his control really isn't top tier, but I mean, the live series cards control isn't really going to be the best, just because they don't really not respect them, I guess, but they don't completely juice out the live series pitchers and stuff like that, because you don't really, like, you want them to have longevity in the game, and I think they actually have the best longevity that they've ever had in the game as far as live series cards. But you know, like, live series cards shouldn't really be end game unless it's a Trout or someone like that. But Scherzer, fastball, slider, circle change, curveball, cutter, very good pitch variety. And, you know, I think Scherzer can still hit like 96, 97 in this game, so he's still got a little bit of gas left in the tank. His slider moves so much. I don't know how it only has 53 break. That thing moves. So Scherzer's pitches might not break a whole lot, but with that release point that he has, he's just so in with the hits per 9. He's so hard to square up. It's just, I just think it's a little difficult to put him above any of the guys that I do have above me. You can make the case, but I think there's not a significant jump, but I think this, like, right in the middle of the pack, like 5, 6, 7 best pitcher in the game. I think that fits Scherzer pretty well. Moving on to the top 5, we have been blessed this year with a significant amount of lefty starters in the game. 3 of the top 5 pitchers in the game that I have right now are lefties, and we started off with none other than a Blue Jays legend, David Price. Looking at Price's stats, nothing really like completely jumps off the board at you. Maybe that 99 velo does and the 97 break, but he's really good all around. 89 hits per 9, 92 K per 9. Do have him at P2, so -2 off of all of these stats that you see. The 99 velo, 97 break is solid. Sinker, cutter, 4-seam, circle change, knuckle curve. Very good mix. Price has it all, man. He's got decent hits per 9. He's got good velo. He's got a good pitch mix. He's got good control in his pitches. He's really everything you want in an early game pitcher. I used him for a couple of games until I had to sell him until I can get the collections done. But once I get collections done, I think if he is still within like the top 5, I have to see what kind of starters come out in the next couple of weeks. But David Price is definitely somebody that I do want to get back onto my team. Someone like David Price, man, especially if you got 3 lefties in the lineup, he's gonna be hard to piece up. I do think there are a couple better lefties. Obviously, there's one that we all know who's probably everyone's #1 pitcher in the game, but I think Price is probably like the 3rd best lefty in the game. You could probably argue 2nd, but I think there's somebody above him we could argue. But Price is really solid, man. He's really everything you want. He's got gas. He can throw 99. He's got the circle change to throw you off to 84, the knuckle curve to kind of mix in there, the slow cutter. He's really got everything, man. He's a fantastic pitcher, and the reason why he's number 5. Going to a man that you cannot buy on the market, it is Sig Series Mike Mussina. The moose is loose, as I like to say, and this is probably the biggest righty finesse pitcher that we have in the game right now. This is honestly the perfect time to drop a card like this, because he's not like an end game card, obviously, but for like an early game, like sinker, 4-seam, knuckle curve, cutter, slider. The thing is with Mussina, you can literally dot with him. That 103 walks per 9, and you look at the control on his pitches, he's just so easy to use. 84 hits per 9, so he has 82 as a normal. Not too bad, but you know, not like elite, I would say, but 84 hits per 9 more than gets the job done with that slow cutter, dude. The one pitch I hate trying to time up against Mussina is trying to hit that cutter, because you just feel like you have to, like, not sit sinker, but you know, you're kind of getting jammed in some sinkers, kind of trying to pass it by, and then you gotta wait back on this 85-mile-an-hour cutter, dude. He's just more annoying than anything. You guys are gonna see who #1 is for the righties, but Mussina's pretty solid. The best righty I think in the game still belongs to the GOAT, DeGrom. I can't put anybody above him, man. He's still so hard to hit. Some people might disagree with me, man, but DeGrom has literally been one of my most trustworthy, if not my most trustworthy pitcher all year. People still cannot hit him, and there's a very clear reason why. Look at the hits per 9 this man has. His base card, I believe, has 98. I got him at 102. I have him P4, but I mean, man, he's got everything. If you want per 9s, he's got per 9s. If you got control, he's got control. If you want velo, he's got velo. He's got that disgusting slider that you can't control. But the one thing with DeGrom is, obviously, as I talked about Scherzer, the live series pitchers don't really have a ton of break on their pitches, but I honestly don't even need it, this fucker. We have a gem here, fellas. 92 Dallas Keuchel. Some people might disagree with me, man, and I know I'm weird when it comes to these different little finesse pitchers. It was Greg Maddux last year. This year it's Dallas Keuchel. I don't have a ton of ranked games played personally with him, but in the games that I have faced him, man, I can truly, honestly say he's the hardest pitcher to hit that is not our number one. Looking at his stats, man, he has a ton of stamina, so he's never going to get tired. So his power region is going to be like the same the whole game. He has an elite level hits per 9, so your PCI is going to be small. His walks per 9 is elite. His control is elite. And his pitch mix is what you want from a finesse pitcher. Sinker, slider, changeup, cutter, four seam. Now, I know you might look at those pitches and see that, you know, the velos are kind of the same, when I kind of shit on some cards earlier for having like the same velos. But when it comes to Keuchel, man, he's just so hard to square up, because that cutter can get as low as like 87, I think, and his sinker can get as high as like 93, I think. So just with everything, man, his stuff is just so wonky, and it comes in so slow, especially if you just face somebody that throws gas and then you hop right into another one. It's an adjustment. That's the thing with Keuchel. Like, you have to adjust yourself to Keuchel so much compared to every other pitcher in the game. I bet no one can guess who number 1 is. 99, Randy Johnson. Surprise, 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 is the best pitcher in the game. We all know what Randy throws. I feel like most people have faced him at this point in the game, and if you have not, you're so lucky. I do not have him yet. I still need Trout and Ohtani, so I have not used him at all. I cannot speak of how good he is, or, you know, stuff like that, but he's no fun. He's no fun to face, I can assure you that. I mean, just everything, man. He's got the quirks, he's got outlier, he's got the hits per 9, he's got 8 per 9. His control, I mean, he's got the control too. He's literally got everything. It's impossible to recognize if it's a slider or a slurve out of his hand, because it literally looks exactly the same, except one of them is 10 miles an hour faster. His splitter just literally buckles your knees after you're sitting 102, like you're just so cross-eyed on it. And then obviously his four-seam fastball is 102, so have fun hitting that. I think the number one thing I want to talk about Randy is that, will he be end game? I feel like most people that have him early on, they will get him to parallel 5. So parallel 5, he'll have 110 hits per 9 with much better walks per 9 and much better control on his pitches. I think Randy's going to be end game 1000%. People will adjust to him and get used to him, but this is what we've been asking for, man, for so long now. We finally have a dominant lefty in MLB The Show. MLB 19 obviously at Kershaw, but that was like a one-off game. I feel for Kershaw, like he's been kind of mediocre in every other game. I think any year that this Randy card comes out, he's gonna be impossible to hit. I'm very excited to get him. If you guys do have 99 Randy, be sure to let me know down in the comments how he is and how many times you've gotten messages and just bullied people into smithereens. That's gonna do it for this one, fellas. I appreciate it. Let me know what your personal top 5 is. Let me know down in the comments your personal top 5 list. The next one, I think I might do relievers, man. I feel like there's a lot of questions about some of the relievers right now, and then obviously we can get into some of the position players and stuff like that. So there's a time for everything. I think I want to kind of do these every so often, you know, as like a big content drop comes in the game and we get a lot of different cards. I think I'll do something like this. Let me know what you guys think. I appreciate all the support so far, fellas. Once again, be sure to drop a sub. If you're new, drop a like as well, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.